We're going to be using estimation for division problems. This is lesson 2.5 and 2.8. Looking at our scale, we want to be able to use estimation to evaluate or solve an expression and to check our answers. Okay, so this is where we want to be. Who knew we could use estimation for more than one thing? And the math practices that we'll be using are, see if you can guess it before I even say it. Number 2, we're going to be thinking about what makes sense. 6, obviously, since we're using estimation to check our work, we're going to be attending to precision. We're also going to be looking for patterns and connections and for looking for regularity or repeated reasoning. Great. So let's jump in. How can we estimate to solve and check problems? This looks just like the lesson that we looked at before, or that we did before. You see, we have our problem that was solved using partial quotients here. And then we wonder to ourselves, okay, can I use estimation to check my answer? Yes, you can. Mrs. Taylor made this amazing song sung to the tune of the Addams Family to help us use this strategy. Are you ready? Okay. Da-na-na-na, 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 da-na-na-na. First round your divisor, next look at your dividend, find a close by multiple, and then you just divide. Da-na-na-na, 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 da-na-na-na. First round your divisor, next look at your dividend, find a close by multiple, and then you just divide. Da-na-na-na, 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 da-na-na-na. Now that we know the song, let's practice that. First, round your divisor. What is our divisor? It was 43, and 43 will round to 40. Done. Next, we'll look at our dividend, which is 892. So I'm looking at 892. Find a close by multiple. What does that mean? We're going to find a number that is divisible by 4, but it's close to 892. If you're thinking what I'm thinking 880. 880 is very, very close to 892. So 40 divided by 880 is my next step, and I'm going to just divide. Well, 40 goes into 880 22 times. How do I know? Because 22 times 40 is 880. So now our question is our answer reasonable? Does it make sense? Well, yeah, it does, because 22 is very close to 20 with the remainder of 32. So we can conclude that our answer is reasonable, which means our answer makes sense. We can also use estimation to solve the problem. And a lot of you are going to say, oh my goodness, I know this already. This is what I'm doing already when I divide. But let's take a look. Estimating is to ask yourself, okay, how many times do I think this number goes into that number? So I could say, okay, how many times do I think 43 goes into 89? Well, I would think that 43 goes into 89 2 times, Or I could say, how many times does 43 go into 892? I would say it goes in 20 times. Now, some of you might have lost me there, and you're thinking, wait, what? But notice a little arrow here. This arrow puts the 2 in the tens place. So that's where we get the idea, okay, 43 goes into 89, or 892, 20 times. The 2 is in the tens place. Watch what happens when we multiply. 2 times 43, or 20 times 43, is 860. What's left? 32. So now we do have 20 with the remainder of 32, and we used estimation to help us solve the problem. And you'll notice that using estimation looked a lot like the standard algorithm. Interesting, huh? Let's keep going. You might recognize this problem as well. It was Asher and his origami crane. Let's set up our problem. 42 cranes. About how many cranes did he make per hour? And now we are going to box the keywords. We want to know how many he made per hour. So we're going to set up our problem. This is our evaluation. 1,638 divided by 42. First, let's use estimation to solve the problem. So I'm going to ask myself, about how many times do I think that 42 goes into 1,638? I know off of the top of my head that 42 times 2 is 42 plus 42. So I'm writing my thinking over here in red. And I'll say, okay, well, I know that 42 plus 42 is 84. And I think that if I added one more 42, or that it might be pretty close to 163. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to put a 3 here and say, okay, 42 probably goes into 163 3 times. And then I'm going to multiply. Okay, 43 or 42 times 3 is what? 126. So I'm going to write that here. Remember, we're estimating. And of course, this would be a 0 because what we're actually saying, remember this 3 is in the tens place. We're actually saying 30 times 42. What is it? 1,260. And then we're going to subtract. When I subtract, I get 378. Now I have to estimate again. About how many times do I think 42 will go into 378? Okay, 3 times is 126. Maybe I could do 6 times. And some of you are like, wait a minute, how did you get 6 times? Well, 3 times is 126. If I think I can double this and it will still be less than 378, then I could be right. So let me see over here. What is 126 plus 126? Does that look right to you? So I'm going to say, okay, I think I could do, and maybe I would just guess as well. Like, okay, let's try 6. 6 times 42 is, like we see here, 252. And then I'll subtract 6, 2, and 1. Oh, wait a minute. I have 126. Can I divide again? Yes. So this is what's called adjusting your quotient. So now I'm going to erase. Oh boy, my estimation was too low. So when I said, oh, I think the answer or the ones place of the quotient could be a 6, my answer was too low. So now I'm going to say, okay, when I did that, I had 126 left, which is what we saw here, 42 times 3. So now I'm going to say, oh, okay, it's this 3 times. Now I'm going to estimate that maybe I can do a 9. What is 9 times 42? It is 378. Miss Addison, how did you come up with that? Well, look, if 42 times 3 is 126, and then 42 times 6 is 252, and when I subtracted over here, I had 126 left, then that means that 42 times 9 is 378. You can check that math if you'd like. I'm going to have 0, and so my actual quotient is 39. Estimating and adjusting your quotients is quite a strategy. We kind of do it a lot, but there's a lot of trial and error. If you have the patience, it could be a good strategy, but it might be a little difficult for you to look for your mistakes. Let's use estimation to check our answer. This is going to go a little faster. So first run your divisor. That is, we're going to round it to 40. Next, look at your dividend, 1,638. Find a close by multiple. I've already said it, 1,600. And then you just divide. Well, how many times do we think that 40 goes into 1,600? Well, let's look at the 4 and the 6. We think that it probably goes in about 40 times. What is 40 times 40? 1,600. And we have to ask ourselves, pretty funny looking, is 40 close to 39? Yes, it is. So we can conclude that our estimate is correct. Remember, we're using estimation to solve. I wonder how you feel about that. And we're using estimation to check our answers. Why don't you try this problem using estimation to solve and estimation to check your answer? This would be the time to pause the video, then we'll come back and you can see if you had the same thoughts that I did. Okay, I wonder if your answers were pretty close. Now we know that the answer here is exact, but 150 is pretty close to 100, considering that our dividend, oh boy, is in the thousands. Because this dividend is so high, to say that our two choices are only 50 numbers apart, like the difference is 50, we would say that this is pretty reasonable because our dividend was in the thousands. It's a 4-digit number. Now, I know the question you're probably wanting to ask is, Miss Addison, how did you decide to use the 1 and the 5? I'll tell you, I was thinking about money. I was thinking about this as 50 cents or 53 cents. And I would say, okay, how many times will 53 cents go into $2.65? Sometimes that's a really good way to think about it, because then you'd say, oh, okay, I could have 4 50 cents and I could have one more 50 cents. Okay? Maybe that helps. If not, write down your questions. Take a look at the scale and complete your square. Thanks for watching.